Hi everyone, it is good to see you. Welcome to KREM 2 News at Noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and what a day so far weather-wise as we look outside. Thomas Patrick is standing by with some snow, rain mix. However, some areas were really impacted, like the Loon Lake School District closing down, while others barely saw anything, Thomas.
Yeah, obviously a rain-snow mix, quite simply put, through the inland northwest. Areas across northeastern Washington and far north Idaho have gotten the most snow so far today. We'll continue to get more snow into this early afternoon, but meanwhile in Spokane, we fully made that transition onto the rain side of things. So let's go to Doppler radar first of all and show you our northern areas still snowing right over Pend Oreille County. Same thing over Boundary and Bonner County in North Idaho. That is not going to change for at least a couple hours here. But meanwhile, closer to Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, do you see how radar is kind of flipping back and forth between the blue and the green, representing a rain-snow mix? And I can tell you from our Southfield studios, there are still some snowflakes mixing in, but none of it is sticking to the ground. So this is almost effectively rainfall in Spokane, especially with our temperatures having really stabilized at about 35 degrees or so. By the way, also notice that there is a bit of some drier air that's pushing in from the west here. So it's not going to continue to rain or snow for the rest of the day, but this is just one wave that is passing through. In the meantime, our northern areas remain under winter weather advisories until 10 p.m. However, Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Central Washington have been removed from the advisory, quite simply because none of the snow was able to stick in the first place, and road conditions will be a-okay for the rest of the day. Like I said, temperatures have stabilized at around 34 to 36 degrees, so no icy road conditions along I-90, thankfully, but as we mentioned, our northern areas from about Deer Park and northward will continue to get more snow into this Friday afternoon.
All right, thank you, Thomas. It is 12:02 right now. Recovery efforts are underway after Wednesday night's disastrous mid-air collision between an airliner and a Black Hawk helicopter. CBS News is at Reagan National Airport in Virginia with more on the investigation and the response from victims' families.
Recovery teams are still at work trying to retrieve bodies and wreckage from the icy Potomac River. Nearly 50 investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board are looking into the devastating collision of American Airlines Flight 5342 and a Black Hawk helicopter. Investigators recovered the plane's black boxes, which they hope contain a record of crucial flight details.
They are a critical part of almost any investigation. They give us a lot of data points. They can tell us about communications that we may not know about.
Preliminary flight data indicates at the time of the crash, both aircraft appear to have been flying at about 400 feet. Military helicopters are supposed to stay below 200 feet. CBS News has learned 2 air traffic controllers were each doing multiple jobs at the time. Former acting FAA Administrator Billy Nolan.
They are well qualified and they are able to multitask. By that I mean you could be handling, even singular controllers are handling multiple flights at any busy airports.
The NTSB will look at staffing along with mechanics, environment, and other factors in their investigation. They have warned against speculation which could be harmful to the probe and to victims' families.
I couldn't have asked for a better son.
29-year-old helicopter crew chief Ryan O'Hara survived a tour in Afghanistan, but was sadly among the victims of Wednesday's deadly collision. His father, in a TV exclusive with CBS, says Ryan loved his job.
They would often do night missions in D.C. He loved it, and most of the guys that he flew with loved it, and he loved his flight crew.
The 67 victims of this tragedy include members of the U.S. figure skating community, many of them young people. Erica Brown, CBS News, Arlington, Virginia.
And as you heard, some of the victims from the skating community certainly leaving its mark on that certain communities, the skating community here in the inland Northwest. Local skaters and instructors say during their time in the sport, many of the people on the flight were familiar faces to them. Susanna Hall is the skating director with the Lilac City Figure Skating Club. It's a club based out of the Eagles Ice Arena in North Spokane for introductory and national level skaters. She says in the past, the clubs had athletes at the same competition that the passengers on the flight were coming back from.
The people I knew were all, their passion for the sport was so high.
In light of the tragedy, the club is holding an event tomorrow honoring the lives of the skaters lost. They'll have skating exhibitions, games, and skating time for folks. The event will go from 10:45 in the morning to 12:15 in the afternoon at Eagles Ice Arena. It is free and open to everyone. President Donald Trump continues his focus on reshaping the federal government by ending some efforts to promote some types of diversity. In the wake of the deadly crash outside the nation's capital, he suggested that diversity, equity, and inclusion programs may have been to blame. Meanwhile, President Trump also appears to be pushing ahead with a long-promised economic plan. CBS shows us the rest of his plans.
From President Donald Trump, theories continue to circulate around what led to Wednesday night's deadly midair collision outside of Washington, D.C.
Are you saying race or gender played a role in this tragedy?
It may have, I don't know. Incompetence might have played a role.
The question as Trump signed a new memo blaming Biden and Obama-era efforts to improve diversity for problems with the Federal Aviation Administration.
The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website.
But the program also existed during his first term, designed to ensure recruitment for a variety of roles included people who have disabilities. Another program established during the first Trump administration worked to help people with disabilities get ready for careers in air traffic operations. On Capitol Hill, Democrats pushed back against the president's claim.
It just turns your stomach.
This while senators grilled 3 of Trump's cabinet picks during confirmation hearings. Meanwhile, back at the White House, President Trump promised new 25% tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico, citing immigration and drugs.
Those tariffs may or may not rise with time.
Oil explicitly not included on the list of taxed items. Trump said that, though, could change based on price. Jared Hill, CBS News.
It is 12:07 right now. Washington State University has created a committee made up of staff from 6 campuses to address the recent flurry of executive orders from President Trump and other future ones that are signed. Right now, the concerns mainly surround funding for student scholarships and financial aid, as a federal freeze was announced, however, later rescinded earlier this week.
Because things are changing rapidly, we want to make sure that we do have a group of folks who are paying really close attention and can communicate what we know when we know it.
It is common for federal funding to be allocated to universities, and it's not necessarily just for student tuition. The money is often used for things like research, books, housing fees, meals, and overall institutional support and development.